What's good with the YouTube or convicts perspective? It's your boy, Big Flacco, smashing, dashing, sliding on through. Little bit of energy, man. Let's cracking, people. We got a banger for you guys. Something interesting, man. You guys are going to be shocked. It's a case out of Woodland, California, where all the co-defendants, right? You had some norteños, some upstate sureños, a down south sureño, as well as some CRIPS, all involved in multiple murders, as well as a couple of assaults, man. This one's crazy, man. So we're going to do this a little bit different, man. Instead of us just reading this whole article all the way through, we're going to go through the discussion. And when we get to key parts, we're going to stop and we're going to break it down for you guys and give a convict's perspective. But this one's a crazy one right here.
All right, man. This is the background, man. This dude's name is Olague. Olague was charged by indictment together with his two co-defendants at trial, Ernesto Duran Arellano and Oscar Hurtado Cervantes, as well as four others, Christina Marie Martin, Nathaniel Eslon, Richard Bentecourt, and Gilberto Lopez, with committing the following crimes: first-degree murder, attempted murder. The indictment alleges special circumstances for multiple murder and intentional killings as participants in a criminal street gang. The prosecutor sought the death penalty against Arellano and Cervantes, but not against Olague. At trial, the prosecution presented evidence supporting in theory that, although the Norteño and Sureño gangs were rivals, their members cooperating in committing these crimes because Arellano, a Norteño leader or shot caller, and non-party Candelario Garza, a Sureño leader, cooperated in the sale of drugs in Woodland. Arellano, a Norteño, ordered the hit because the victim, Stepper, a Norteño, owed him money for drugs, and Arellano wanted to send a message to others who owed money and reinstill fear in the community. Christina Martin, a Norteño, brought Stepper to the place of the attack. The shooter was Cervantes, who was not a gang member, but who associated with Norteños, Sureños, and Crips. Stepper was the target, and the other victims were shot either because they were in the kill zone or because Cervantes intentionally shot them in an attempt to eliminate witnesses.
Wow.
Eslon, a Crips gang member, acted as a lookout. Arellano's neighbor, Gilberto Lopez, a Sureño, was the getaway driver. Olague, a Sureño, was on the street at the time of the shooting to ensure that all participants did what they were supposed to.
Wow. Hey, Ray. So far, you guys following what's happening here, right? So far what we got with this whole situation is it looks like you got a bunch of people smoking dope in the house that are getting paranoid about money. That because these relationships are coexisting because of dope. It's what I'm getting from it, man, from what I read. You have a Norteño. You have some Sureños being the lookout and getaway drivers. You have another Norteño that set this other Norteño up. And then you have another Crip that's on the lookout. At what odds do you have a trifecta for gang investigators like this, man? I mean, this is 2002. I've heard of doing individual dealings with some people from down south, and it's just a business transaction. But I never ever thought to co-conspire with people that I'm associating with out on a street gang level to where we're doing business and we're doing crimes together on this level. Most of the time, whenever we've done any business with people that are associated with people from down south, Mexican nationalists, and probably even some Sureños, it was always on a business level. Boom, we're gone. It was never on the, okay, we're going to kick it. We're going to co-conspire. I'm going to know about your gang. None of that kind of stuff, man. You know what I mean? I really had limited basis. Most of my interactions would have been with mainly people that you would consider Mexican nationalists that were involved with some type of organizations down that way. But this shit, man, bro, this is going to get crazy. Watch what happens with this story, brother.
Eslon and Bentecourt, Norteño, testified about gathering at Arellano's apartment on Halloween in 2002 before the shootings. At the gathering, Arellano asked Eslon and Bentecourt to beat up Roger Stepper, who owed Arellano about $500 to $800 and was not doing what he was supposed to be doing to help the drug trade. Islan, who owed Arellano $1,600 for drugs, and Bentecourt refused to do the actual deed because Stepper was their friend. Arellano asked Cervantes, who was also there, to handle it. Cervantes agreed and was given some drugs. Islan, to pay off his debt, agreed to Arellano's request to station himself at the end of the street on Halloween and make sure nobody we know goes down that street. Lopez came to the door and was told by Arellano it's going to go down, and Lopez was needed as the getaway driver. Though Lopez had a beef with Cervantes, who impregnated Lopez's girlfriend, there was evidence that Lopez did not know Cervantes would be involved. Arellano took a phone call, then said Jaime and Garza were on their way over with the gun and told Islan and Bentecourt to leave. Islan testified he knows 3 Jaimes, one of which is Oleguer. Islan did not stay and therefore did not know if it was Oleguer who showed up. However, Islan testified it was Oleguer who showed up when the crime took place. On Halloween around 10 p.m. as planned, Islan concealed himself at the end of Oak Avenue to stand watch. Martin walked Stepper down Oak Avenue and then left. Stepper began chatting with the other victims near a pickup truck in victim Valdez's driveway. Oleguer, whose job it was to make sure others did their job, walked Cervantes partway down the street.
It's already disaster, bro. Too many people
involved.
Too many people involved, bro.
And they're all on dope, probably.
They're all on dope, bro. It's just this is why you never employ people that are tracked out of their minds, that are trying to. This is why dope mixes with people, man. This is where you get some strange situations where you'll interact with people you never thought you would interact with ever, and then do crimes.
As related by the surviving victims, a man approached the victims, kind of grinned, pulled out a gun, aimed the gun at Stepper's head, and fired from a distance of 2 feet, killing Stepper immediately. The shooter then pointed the gun at the others and fired multiple times, killing 17-year-old Eric Folsom and injuring 14-year-olds Vicky Folsom and Jessica Valdez. At trial, one of the survivors identified Cervantes as the shooter, though she had not identified him in a photo lineup. As Lopez drove the getaway car, Cervantes hit the dashboard and said, I got him. Lopez had not expected any shooting. He later told Garza that Veronica Lugo, girlfriend of Guillermo Ramirez, who had been with Lopez, was in the alley and heard the gunshots. Lugo testified she was summoned to an apartment the next day where several people, including Cervantes and Oleguer, were present. Garza, Lopez, and Ramirez led her into a bedroom and told her to keep her mouth shut or she and her children would be killed. An expert in criminal gangs, Sergeant Stephen Gill, said rival gangs do work together in drug activity and will commit a crime such as murder together to further their criminal enterprise, enhance both gangs' reputation, and further instill fear and intimidation in the community and among other gang members. A non-gang member's participation would be a way to be accepted by the gangs.
What do you think about that, bro?
Huh?
What do you think about that? I've never heard of rival gang members doing holidays like that, doing a job.
I'm sure it's happened at some point in time, man, because I personally know a lot of Norteños that have brothers that are from the other side and vice versa. You know, there's going to be relationships, family, friends of family. Things can get intertwined. I've just never heard of it on this scale, but I'm sure it's happened. And I personally just have not heard about it. They haven't been caught or whatever. But I know a lot of things like just along the lines of hustling, it happens all the time. But for a coordinated murder of a northerner by northerner, Surenos and Crips, that's a first for me.
Yeah, I could see family members and stuff like that, but not on this scale.
This is a trip, bro. This is very, very interesting, man.
Yeah, see, this is why we're doing it different, guys, because it's kind of hard. You have to follow in this story, man. It goes in stages. It just gets crazier. Watch what happens now.
Oleguer and both of his co-defendants testified at trial and denied any involvement. Ariano, age 34 at trial, said he was a Norteño for 10 years, but was not a shot caller. He denied any pre-Halloween meeting, denied ordering or suggesting that anyone kill Stepper, and said he did not even know Cervantes or Olague before Halloween of '02, except for an incident where he had almost gotten into a fight with Olague, who he pegged as a Sureño. Ariano admitted that on one occasion he told Cervantes to handle it, but testified he was telling Cervantes to go get a pipe to smoke drugs. Stepper was Ariano's friend, did not buy drugs from him, and did not owe him money. On Halloween, Ariano was on his way home, saw Stepper, said hello, and noticed a car full of people wearing blue, a Sureño color. Ariano said his only prior crimes were spousal abuse, selling drugs, and participating in a prison riot in which he was just following gang orders, though he was in front of his cohorts. Cervantes, age 28 at trial, testified he had never belonged to a gang, though he knew gang members. He knew Olague before Halloween, but not Ariano. When arrested, Cervantes said he knew this day was coming, but he thought he was being arrested for violating probation. Cervantes denied telling his cellmate Richard Bowie about the case and denied tampering with his handcuffs, evidence of which was adduced as an escape attempt. Cervantes had a prior felony conviction for selling drugs and a drug-related misdemeanor. Alibi witnesses testified Cervantes was with them that night. Olague, age 29 at trial, testified he was a gang member when he lived in Los Angeles. He equivocated on whether it was a Sureño and associated with Southerners when he moved to Woodland. He was friendly with Cervantes. Olague did not know or have any contact with Ariano, except Olague ran from a brief confrontation with Ariano as a member of a rival gang in a parking lot about a month before the crimes. Olague denied any involvement in the crimes. He came upon the crime scene after a friend dropped him off and he was walking in a friend's house. Olague admitted 2 prior felony convictions for auto theft and terrorist threats on his ex-wife. To advance the defense theory that the police pressured the accomplices to make false confessions consistent with the prosecution's theory, the defense hammered at inconsistencies in the accomplices' statements, and a defense expert testified about how police interrogations can elicit false confessions. In May of '06, the jury returned verdicts finding all 3 defendants guilty on all counts, and in addition, finding true all enhancement allegations. The trial court denied defense motions for new trials. Olague was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole on counts 1 and 2, 7 years on count 4, and a consecutive term of 2 years, 4 months on count 3. The court imposed an additional terms of 25 years to life as firearms enhancements on counts 1 through 3. Olague and his co-defendants appealed to the California Court of Appeals, 3rd District. The Court of Appeals modified co-defendant Cervantes' sentence, but affirmed the convictions and sentences in all other respects. A petition for review to the California Supreme Court was denied.
They must have been on some good dope, bro.
Bro, they were getting that. Hey, they had that straight cartel hookup. That shit wasn't. Hey, it wasn't even hitting San Diego and LA to get stepped on first. It was just going straight to Woodland. Straight to Woodland.
When I read this case, I couldn't keep a straight face, bro, because this is a time era when we were both active, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, this would have never been tolerated or allowed, bro. Like, you know what I mean? First of all, the dude messed up. You're never supposed to admit that you're a Norteño or anything like that on the stand, period, man. But I like his excuse. Oh, when I told him to handle that, I meant to go get the pipe to fucking fill it up. I was laughing my ass off when I heard that, man. You know, let's just go back to common sense. And we just talked about it yesterday, about incognito activities, about isolating yourself from other individuals, and as well as knowing who's capable of doing what and executing the orders and directives that you give without getting shit fucked up. And this is a classic case of a crowd of tweakers just doing their thing. I mean, there's nothing worse than a fucking tweaker with a gun, bro. Come on, let's just keep it real. That's dangerous. You never know when they just may lose it, what they may think. I mean, just common sense. So What do you think happened to these guys when they went to prison? I mean, how could you think as a Sureno? I mean, this is 2002, and you go in there and you submit your paperwork, and you're like, oh yeah, my co-defendant was a Norteño and a Crip. Those are two of their biggest rivals. The Crips are one of their biggest rivals out there in the streets besides the hoods out there. I mean, this is 2002, bear in mind. We're not talking about how shit is out there now. I'm just thinking, you know, what kind of explanation would you have for the homies?
You remember that song Pinta Bound?
Yeah.
S and Y Bound.
S and Y Bound, huh?
It's PC Bound. They locked that shit up, bro. In the courtroom, they're like, I can't go back to my module. There's too much talking on the stand. They're in Mule Creek, bro. They're in Mule Creek.
They're in Mule Creek.
Talking about, man, hey, go get that pipe. That's what they're talking about right now, bro. They're looking for a pipe in Mule Creek.
Oh man, bro.
Maybe the Crips are right, but the homie in the Sureno, it's over.
So he blasts the dude straight point blank, and then he just turns on the random crowd. You know what I mean? And they were all, and to top it off, what made it all worse, right, for these guys, one was 29 and one was 33, right? They said they shot a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old. They lured a 17-year-old to an apartment. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be acceptable under any circumstances, man. I mean,
hey. It's Halloween. Why isn't the shooter wearing a full mask? How would you even know he grinned? It should have been some random dude acting like he was trick-or-treating, came up and dusted everybody, bro.
I mean,
and then kept trick-or-treating. You know what I mean? Just kept on pushing. Hey, trick-or-treat, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, just in general, man. Just
they had good product, bro. It was 90-something% pure.
It was some P2P. You know what I mean?
They're good, bro.
It was some propanol shit, bro. Some shit you can't get, man.
They've been up since the 4th of July, bro. I mean, you know, they made it all the way to Halloween without no rest.
Man, I mean, just following this case, I had to stop you a couple of times. Sorry for interrupting you, right? But the reason why I was trying to follow where the steps were. So you have a lookout, a getaway driver, a person who lures him there, the actual shooter. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like with whoever this individual was, right, this alleged Norteño leader, right, I think he was probably the plug out there. You know what I mean? Probably had a good well, yeah, apparently he had a good connect, bro. You know what I'm saying? And he was using, I've seen people in the past, man, who or dope users out there that they have trap spots and everybody goes and hangs out and stuff like that, man. Because I used to drop off weight, or I established trap spots like that, man. And a lot of things go on in these places when people are smoking dope that you'd be shocked, man. I mean, you got all these individuals from all these different subsets. You got underage people in the house, which is a big no-no. You know what I mean? That they feel that having this dope, it gives them power and control over people. You know what I'm saying? So this dude the guy that ends up doing this whacking owed money for some dope. So in order not to have to pay for the dope, he dealt with the situation.
Hey, can you imagine, right? Me and you were going to court on, like, let's say we got a driving on suspended or something. Me and you were sitting in there and we're listening to this shit before we see the judge. Like, and I thought he was just telling me to go get the pipe. Bro, I'd have fell out the chair like I do on the live sometimes, bro. It would have been a wrap. They would have had to remove me.
Oh,
I'd have been pointing at his ass and fucking.
Hey, he tried to make every excuse up. He was still high from like 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? That's the sad thing. I mean, the sad thing too, man. I know we're making fun of these guys, how they acted, man, but there was 2 lives that were lost due to the situation.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're not making light of that situation.
Fun made of them, but yeah, hey, much respect to the victims, man. I mean, hey, there's a bunch of lessons right here. Don't use methamphetamines. Destroys your judgment. These dudes have been to prison. They've been in riots. Riots usually ain't happen on 1 and 2 yards. That means they're probably on 3 and 4. They understand what to do and what not to do. And this whole situation is a what not to do from any angle you look at it.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's all powered by meth.
All powered by meth. I've seen people, okay, look, I've seen homeboys, right, that are in there. I mean, you always got to look at homeboys if they're active in soldado or even a C. If they start to have a lot of missing teeth, that's already a red flag for me. You know what I'm saying? When I used to see those OGs out there, man, I'd be like, I already know what they're doing. You'll see some homeboys, they're in there, they're solid, they have the discipline. They're implementing education, they're schooling youngsters, they're holding, I mean, they're doing everything as far as what would be expected of being an soldado or even a C. You know, the moment they hit the streets, you know what I'm saying? They're hitting that pipa, or they're hitting that, or they're hitting that, or they're hitting that their excuse me, they're mainlining it. Excuse me. And they're all that stuff that they had in there goes out the window. That's one thing I couldn't understand, man. Like, you're in there, you're representing positions, you're making decisions, you're being in a leadership position, and the next thing you know, you're out in the streets and you're a straight dope thief. You're either a tecato, you're a meth addict, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And you throw everything out the window. There's people I knew that I used to look up to that were bros, that were older bros, like first wave NR members that, you know, held positions, sacrificed so much, did a lot of time in the shoe and everything, right? I mean, they were there during Corcoran, you know, shoe wars and all that, man. They were there during all these conflicts, man, you know, survived the deep facility dilemmas and stuff like that. Now, fast forward 25 years later, they're living in the creek in a tent. You know what I mean? Smoked out on meth, talking about what they used to do.
Yeah. Hey, check this out, man. You know, everybody knows where the big man's from, Big Corny. Can you imagine? You know, he stays up on news from his community. Can you imagine him reading the Corning Democrat? I know Corny, bro, and I'm trying to picture myself as this Sally watching him read that paper. Hey, bro, he jumped up, body slammed that paper, stomped it out. You know?
Hey, he probably turned to Spider, asked him, "Is that your cousin?"
That's crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah, I've never heard no case like this. Very interesting. It's very rare you're gonna see.
I could see one, right? Like one individual that moved from down south. You know, their cousins are homeboys. I've seen that before where they associate with homeboys. They're not kicking them with the upstate Surenos. They're originally from a hood down south and they changed. But this one had individuals that were actually upstate Surenos. You know what I mean? A down south Sureno. I mean, this wasn't just like one person, because I've seen that before where there's one person, we go into the spot, man. Hey, that's homeboy's primo, leave him alone. He's from down south. Okay, he's not out here banging. He's not out here pushing no issue or nothing like that. You know what I mean? You know, okay, we'll let it be. You know what I'm saying? But this was like, man, let's make a super gang and try to run the drug trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with cooperation to make that ultimate dollar, as you see now with these end of hostilities and stuff like that. I promise you, there's some intermingling of business and ventures that are popping off both sides, working hand in hand to accomplish financial glory. But this is 2002 on the streets. Upstate Sureno doesn't like Crips, doesn't like Northerners. Northerners don't like Surenos at the time. But it happens, you know what I mean? Like I used to drop off things to a couple people considered opposition that worked for me, that were generating money for the O. You know, so it's not unheard of, you know what I mean? But this was just the playbook of what not to do. Word by word, nothing they did. Everything got them deemed. Talking at trial, admitting Nortenos, this and that, killing kids. You know, this was crazy, bro. I've never seen one like this personally. I enjoyed reading it. You know, it's messed up that I'm finding humor in it because, like you said, there's a lot of innocent people, or maybe not innocent, but people lost their lives, and there's nothing funny about it, man. But you know, you take that out of the equation. If this was a case where the gun didn't work or something, and you were reading this, it's like, what do you even say?
Bro, they sat there the next day and still tried to lure a witness to the pad. You know what I mean?
It was over, bro. It was over before it started. If that dude would have just went and got the pipe, you know what I mean?
But the bad thing about it, right, is the dude that actually did all the shooting, right? He didn't even bang. He wasn't a Norteño, a Crip, or Sureno. He hung out with all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. There's always that one little dude that'll do anything. We had him around. Nobody wanted him in the hood because they were kind of a J-cat, or they were kind of weird, or they were too high, or they were always watching porn on their phone while we're trying to kick it. You know, them weird motherfuckers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But they're with that action, you know? They're just like, hey, let's make this dude do it.
The story's crazy.
Anyway, man, there's a perfect example of why methamphetamines are devastating. You know, the decisions they make, and they're devastating even without this stuff, man. So, you know, stay away from that stuff. It has no good in it. If you're a gang member, never admit it. That's an enhancement. Make them prove it. You know, don't be out there killing people for no reason for $800, $600. Bro, if that crossed my desk back in the days, don't talk to them no more. Don't give them anything else. $600, then you just wiped out 4 different people from 3 different gangs. I mean, it's not worth it, you know? All right, YouTube, man, it's your boy Rojo, Big Flacco, man. We thought this was a great one. Try to learn something from it, y'all. Have a good day.